Welcome to another edition of Project Natter. This is Stop the Boats Part 2. If you haven't already, if it's your first time here, please make sure you hit the subscribe button to show your support for freedom of speech. Joining me to discuss this topic is Martin Costello.
Right.
One, and we are live. Welcome back, Martin.
And David, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure as always.
Appreciate you coming back on the show. Just thought we'd do a Stop the Boats Part 2 because the first video we did got quite a bit of attention. Quite a few people shared it on social media. It got a mention in Political Light, and also got loads of fan mail from far left extremists. Today I was called a flag nonce.
I've never heard that one before.
Yesterday I was a Nazi, and the day before I was a fascist.
Oh no, you definitely look more of a gammon to me.
But this is this is a trait of the left, isn't it? This is what they do to try and silence you, to stop you from speaking out against certain issues that they don't want you to speak about. You find yourself getting banned from social media for expressing genuine concerns. So anyway, the last time we spoke, we were talking about the boats that were coming over and the concerns that we had as to who might be on these boats. Since we last spoke, there's been many boats that have been coming over on a daily basis since then. Also, yesterday we saw a flight coming in from Greece, bringing in illegal immigrants from the mainland to here, 34 illegal immigrants from Syria, Somalia, and various other places. What do you make of it all?
Well, as you know, David, I suffer from high blood pressure, and this is not doing it any good, I can tell you now. Since we last spoke, interestingly, actually, they did report on those boats coming over on the mainstream media. It was on Sky, and a lot of the press as well, and of course the BBC. But in the true BBC fashion, they showed a tiny little bit of them come over on the boats, but then the whole rest of the piece was about what they have to put up with in Calais and these camps and things. All these well-dressed, well-groomed young males. So we know whose side the BBC on, and there's no surprise there. They love mass immigration. But what shocked me, was yesterday, these planes actually flying people in when we're supposed to have a pandemic going on with COVID-19. Yeah, they're actually flying them into our country. That's one thing. But the other thing is we never voted for this. We voted to stop all this going on, but it's still happening right underneath our noses. I'm absolutely incensed by this.
Well, it seems to be an ongoing occurrence. We're seeing it now with this Tory government. We saw it with the last Tory government and the Tory government before that. They all told us they would, control immigration, and we've been lied to. I mean, the only reason that Boris is in power, let's not forget, is because of Brexit, because everyone wants to see Brexit get done. But I think, as you mentioned, the news now are showing this, Martin, and the only reason that we know that they're showing it is because Nigel Farage has highlighted it and made a big deal out of it, and now they have to show what's going on. It is part of the big globalist agenda, isn't it? This population replacement thing that's been spoken about, time and time again. But genuinely, like you said, we're in the middle of a pandemic. The borders should be shut. No one should be coming in. We shouldn't be adding to the risk of spreading the disease or the virus any further, or adding to it. Thing is, we've had this now nearly every day since we last spoke. These boats have been coming. We've had lovely weather, so they just kept coming. And the numbers that we know about are the ones that get stopped. As we mentioned before. How many people come that we don't know about? How many do actually scarper and disappear? Have cars waiting for them, disappear. And as you mentioned before, they end up doing like cash work and disappear.
Well, they're exploited for cheap labour. That's one of the big issues about it. The globalists love all these people coming in because they can make them work cash in hand for things. And even like the Guardian reported, there was over 1 million illegal immigrants in this country. That's a hell of a lot of people, and these are the exact ones that are putting pressure on our infrastructure. Like the NHS, they think this is absolutely fantastic because we've got incentives for them to come over. And they can sweep up all these things that we enjoy. And the lefties are the first ones to complain when all the hospitals are full and all the rest of it. But they need to open their eyes. We cannot be a dumping ground for the rest of the world's refugees, or fakefugees, as I call them, because a lot of them aren't fleeing war. They never stay in their first country of safety. And when they, do get over it, and then they finally do get settled status, they bring the rest of their family over, and they're always young men, males, well dressed and well groomed. I mean, this is so ridiculous. And like you quite correctly pointed out, we voted back in the 2019 general election to put an end to all this. We've had enough of it now. It's got to stop.
Yeah, we're being completely mugged off, Mike. Like I said, this government before, the Tories with their empty promises when it comes to controlling mass immigration, it just doesn't happen. Now, we heard them speak about an Australian-style point system. But it's funny, it's quite ironic, isn't it, that we have to look to Australia for, to learn about immigration control. And Australia have a system in place there that if you come by boat to Australia, the message is clear: you will not settle there. And it's really the boats have slowed down. They did have a liberal lefty government. I think it was in like 2007, and they eased the rules on that. I think it was called the Pacific Law or something like that. But anyway, they once they made the message clear, you come by boat, you ain't sending. They were turning them back, and they were sending them back to where they came from. They weren't letting them come in, and the message soon got, if you go by boat, you're not going to get to settle it. So we need to send a message like that. We need to send a clear and firm message saying that if you come by boat, you will not settle here. But it seems obviously they can come by plane, and our government will bring them in. But we need to make sure that this message is clear. Otherwise, they're just going to keep on coming. And these arty farties that they say, they claim to be the compassionate ones and that, but they're putting their political views before the safety of our public.
Yeah.
We don't know who these people are, as we mentioned in our last video. They could be terrorists, they could be murderers, they could be rapists, they could be paedophiles, they could be absolutely anybody.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, there could be nice people on board the ship, but we don't know. We don't know who they are. You need to go through due process. They need to come in legally, and then they can be settled here. Nobody's saying that people can't come into the country. What we're saying is it needs to be in moderate numbers, and we need to make sure the right people are coming in. I personally think that we need to update our repatriation laws. So anyone who does come here, if they commit a criminal offence within the first 5 to 10 years of being in the country, they get deported straight away. That will send a strong message as well to criminals who think they can come here and start a career. We can send them off. And also, we don't want to be paying our taxpayers' money, paying for people in our prison service, paying them to live here and feed them and whatever. And that goes for terrorists as well. I think we need to bring back the death penalty for terrorists and whatever. Like where I'm from, Fulham, I never thought we'd ever hear the words Parsons Green bomber. We saw a Syrian refugee, he was fostered by a British family, and then he's on a bloody tube trying to blow us up. So we need to be very, very careful about who we're letting in, very, very selective. And there is a reason behind that, and calling people a flag nonce and a gammon and whatever names else they come up with, Nazis, fascists, that it's just ridiculous. There's a difference between nice sounding ideas and reality, as we know.
That's it, and that's why we need to have a sensible debate on it. This name calling thing is just wearing thin now. Because like we always say, mass immigration is a positive. Mass immigration is not a good thing. Immigration is a positive thing. Mass immigration is devastating, and that's why we need to get the numbers right. Because the current rate of immigration in areas is not giving time to people to integrate at all, and that's where there's a huge problem. So we just want a grown-up, sensible discussion about this now, you know, and a lot of people don't want to leave their countries. They want to enjoy the things we do, but we need to restart rebuilding their own countries. We can't just house everyone here. It's not the dumping ground that the left would like. You know, you can't help everyone. You know, what we'd like to do and what we physically can do are two completely different things. But, you know, we shouldn't still be talking about immigration all these years on now. We should have been dealt with ages ago.
The trouble is, Martin, there are heaps of people here on the left who hate and despise our country and everything it stands for. We saw on VE Day lots of vile lefties coming out mocking proud patriots, you know, celebrating VE Day. Even the likes of George Galloway was calling them out. It's a shame, but this is where I think our repatriation laws need updating, you know, not just for people from outside the country, but also within the country. So we're seeing this cultural Marxist idealism infecting the minds of, you know, our youngsters. It's infiltrated, you know, all of our institutions. So we really need to start tackling that before it's too late. So, for instance, like the likes of like Owen Jones from the Labour Party, you know, who's a socialist who wears a T-shirt saying we'll suck dick for socialism. You know, people like that, you know, what we need to do is say, okay, well, we're not a socialist country. We're not going to be taken down this route, you know, leading us towards communism, whatever. But I'll tell you what, if you want a taste of socialism, we'll put you on a flight to Venezuela. You can go out to Venezuela and see how you're going out there. I mean, let's not forget, you know, Jeremy Corbyn and Diane Abbott called Venezuela a perfect example of socialism working. So,
wow,
like, we need to make sure that we look after our interests and look after our people first. And it's not racism, it's not Marxism, it's not fascism. It's sensible. You know, it's sensible to look after.
Exactly.
We want to preserve our culture. We want to preserve our identity. And you know, and our history. We don't want to be erased.
No, and we love all cultures, though. You know, all these cultures in Europe, they're fantastic. We want to see them thrive and carry on. You know, we don't all need to be the same. That doesn't make for an interesting world, and it erodes democracy away. You know, that's what these people just don't seem to understand. You know, it's that simple.
They do understand that, Martin. They just don't want us talking about it. You know, that's why they call you names. You know, they want to break this down. They want to break down the identity of everywhere. They want this like communist state that we saw at the European Union. So, you know, we've got one currency, one flag. They've even got their own national anthem. They've got their own. We can see what the big agenda is. What these cultural Marxists are trying to do, and they were throwing names at people by calling them, you know, flag nods. What are things to come up with? But you know, these names are trying to, you know, discredit people and, you know, discourage you from speaking out against this thing. So if you're watching this video, if you feel like I do, you know, please comment below. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know what you think. You know, if you think me and Martin are correct in what we're saying. Let us know. I mean, on the last video, YouTube removed a few videos from an Islamic extremist who wrote some stuff below. But you know, you need to be able to discuss these things, like you said, without insults being thrown. We need to have serious debates and conversations about the pros and cons of all this, without being shut down. So we're not going to stop talking about it. We are going to continue talking about it. If you're watching the video, please make sure you share it. Let's get the message out there. You know, that will really wind them up. Keep sharing the video, like the video, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Check Martin Costello out on Facebook if you get a chance. Have a look on there. It might be on there for. But yeah, I mean, thanks for coming back on, Martin, to have a discussion with us. Really appreciate it.
No, always a pleasure, David. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys.